this squad. Before we actually get into the match, well, you need to know where we're going to play. So we'll bring up the map veto system for you. FaZe will be starting on defense. Liquid rocking their very familiar blue color, starting on attack here and just waiting on the last one. There you go. With Villa falling off the board, we will see Clubhouse for the second time today. Now, in the very first matchup between FaZe and Liquid earlier in this season, all the way back to week 3, it was Oregon as the map these two teams quarreled on. However, an unfortunate series of events ended up befalling that FaZe roster, and after several disconnects due to inclement weather for them in Sao Paulo, it was a forfeit that went in FaZe's way, which gave Liquid a 7-1 victory over a match that we didn't actually get to see get played out more than a couple rounds. Hopefully there are clearer skies here for both of these teams, and we actually see a conclusion, fingers crossed, indeed. What do you think about the community vote, Michael?
Well, we're going to find out. I think it'll be one of the closer ones, but I don't know that we can get another 45-45. It's not going to be the case. 40% for FaZe, 51% for Liquid, 9% on the draw. That seems right to me.
I would say so as well. Now, Liquid do come in with a worse record over the last 2 play days, and I would also argue that that Black Dragons matchup last week on Oregon really could have gone either way. I think with that pivotal round being the 2v5 on kids' dorms upstairs, if Liquid doesn't win that round, I think their momentum ultimately falls by the wayside, and Black Dragons likely wins that matchup, which would have been huge for them on the standings and beneficial for both NiP and FaZe beneath them. But heading into today, I would imagine that Liquid is probably the team with a small advantage, but we will see if that advantage is only the 11% that you, the community, seem to give to Liquid, or if FaZe have figured things out by adding Ion to that roster.
It's also a similar story to Immortals and Ninjas in Pajamas, right? I mean, you go into that match and you would give the slight edge to Immortals. I mean, they're the team in first place. They seem to have the momentum in their corner. It's looking good for them, but it was a draw. And I think that this match has the same potential. I know people don't like to see draws, but it feels like a draw going into it. FaZe Liquid, and they haven't played before in the regular season because it was, well, they played a few rounds, but it was a forfeit by FaZe. So there's a lot going into this match, and I think easily could be a draw. I think if any one of these matches today should be, it would be this one.
Yeah, I think that when you look at the next 2 matchups that we have, that the results are going to probably be very definitive. I might end up eating my words in matches 3 and 4, but on paper, it looks to be a certain way. But in the great words of our fellow colleague, Robert Flynn, he said, matches aren't played on paper. And there's an awful lot in practice that doesn't exactly happen in theory and vice versa. So the way that things play out can be really up to chance here. Clubhouse is going to be very interesting because when you look at this match that we just witnessed between Immortals and Ninjas in Pajamas, it actually skewed back towards the old way that we saw from Clubhouse, where the defenders win an awful lot. Clubhouse tended to be more attacker-sided over the last 2 weeks. That wasn't really what we just saw in match 1. It's going to happen in match 2. FaZe is going to start on defense, Liquid's going to start on attack. Liquid are very aggressive on attack and usually one of the best teams on attack in the world. How is FaZe going to be able to answer that?
That's a good question, and we'll find out once we actually get into the match. And like we talked about, I think Clubhouse going to be a good platform for this match to happen. We'll load right on in. As we said earlier, FaZe starting on defense, Liquid starting on attack. I think that this is going to be a really interesting one. You talked about how in the first match, also Clubhouse, we saw it be a little bit more defender-sided, and that was definitely of interest. And as you said, going a little bit back to the old days of Clubhouse being that defender-sided map. But it just seems like the way the map plays out, yes, it can be defender-sided. It can also be attacker-sided. It just seems to go one extreme or the other. I'm curious to see how it's going to play out here in this match. And now we've got Hibana being banned instead of a Maverick. Thatcher also being taken care of. So this is an interesting mix of counter hard breach. Thatcher, of course, being a huge role in not only taking care of Bandit batteries and Kaid Electro Claws, but also Jaeger's ADSs. So that's a pretty big win for whoever's defending. It also is important to note that since IQ doesn't get played, the anti-electronic game that will be brought out by both of these teams are likely to be low unless the record is broken and people start bringing that IQ.
Interesting to note that Thatcher, who saw quite a bit of prevalence on that Immortals NiP matchup after being absent for the first couple rounds, was banned out in the original Team Liquid FaZe match that was on Oregon. Now, banning a Thatcher on Oregon is not really that surprising. So to see him possibly get banned on a map like Clubhouse suggests to me that with Hibana also banned, Maverick is going to be almost a must pick through every single round that gets played between these two teams. An operator, in addition to that, an operator whose pick rate is quite high in this region and whose ban rate is the lowest of the 3 regions that we broadcast here on this channel, Maestro, is added to the ban list by FaZe. FaZe also additionally hates Hibana and bans her on quite a bit of the map, so not really surprised to see her go. I am a little surprised that Team Liquid wouldn't ban a Monty against FaZe, because we know the way that Yuna plays Monty here on this map has been so pivotal for FaZe's attacks. Of course, there's going to be 6 rounds until we see a Monty come in, and
what? Those 6 picks are crazy. We just saw a Maverick into a Fuse and an Echo into a Castle. Those are some hyper-specific 6 picks right there, ladies and gentlemen. And clearly going to be some, well, as such, hyper-specific plans being brought out by both teams. Also, an IQ brought by Team Liquid. Really interesting to see that as well. Like we talked about, an operator that doesn't see a whole lot of play in the Latin American region, at least in the regular season.
It's going to be on Palu, who can frag well on any operator that you put in his hands. He's been an absolute monster pickup. He joined the roster at the same time that we saw Gohan join the roster. They brought quite a bit of life to Team Liquid, and since then, Palu's play has not really slowed down at all. He's been very good for this team. I am just absolutely gobsmacked with the Fuse play. Now, keep in mind that there was a team that ran Fuse on Clubhouse when attacking this site before. Can you name them?
Off the top of my head, no.
Counter Logic Gaming.
Oh, you're looking that far back?
That far back.
I mean,
go. They put England on the Fuse role, which apparently was an accidental pick the first time, but then it kind of worked. It's not bad. I mean, hey, you put Fuse charges in Kitchen, you just rain all of his destructive capabilities all the way down. It blows up all the utility. It'll take out all the ADSs, either by burning them or destroying them.
It's definitely a good pick on this site. I mean, it's not a crazy thing to do. It's basement. You've got a lot of soft destructive floor/ceilings to use him on. But what's really curious to me is that they're throwing Sexy Cake on this Fuse into Dirt Tunnel. So we've seen this done before. The laser sight PMM on the shield of Sexy Cake. I believe it was Hicks who made that really popular and kind of excelled on that role way back. But haven't really seen it come out very much. It's kind of a, like I said, hyper-specific pick.
We've seen Sexy Cake play Blitz a number of times, and he's going to be the first contact now. With the PMM, it does quite a bit of damage, though, and it looks like it tags Ion once. A great shot, a bit of luck there from Sexy Cake, as it does a tremendous amount of damage to Ion, the Smoke, who will now have to fall all the way back and just watch that Dirt Tunnel entrance. It's good utility, though, or good usage of burning the utility from FaZe, as FaZe clan now only have 1 toxic canister remaining from Ion. Sexy Cake has been able to just completely burn all of that utility from the Smoke. However, the 3 cluster charges that Fuse have are really not going to be that effective in Sexy Cake's current position.
I don't understand why he didn't place it in Kitchen before making this push. Definitely a curious decision from Sexy Cake. It would be able to flush out these anchors, Ion specifically playing deep in Arsenal. PSK is going to take down Yuna, so that's a good early pick there for Liquid. That's by Blue. Now it's going to alleviate a little bit of the pressure that Sexy Cake was feeling from that Blue Crossfire. Ion now only relying on Astro.
And it does look like Liquid is going to put all their investment inside of Blue, which means that for Astro this could get very difficult, as they are just going to creep right on up. And the mute of Astro is going to be the first person that they come in contact with. Nesk always manages to find holes in the defense, and there you go, he'll find 1 and a kill to boot as PSK picks up kill number 2, and everything will happen in a hurry. Things falling apart, but here's Cameraman. He's completely undetected on the flank. Nesk will shut down Ion, and it's another kill. A big kill for Nesk as he collects 3 on the round. All of these opportunities from Liquid being seized upon, and a really strong opening start here from this Liquid squad, while Sexy Cake was able to completely surprise them. It was a bit of a razz-and-dazzle there from Liquid as the blue push comes in, and nobody from FaZe is watching.
Nesk, the saving grace in that round. It actually did look like FaZe was going to be able to lock out Team Liquid. The way that Liquid was playing that, I mean, very curious. I still don't know why Sexy did not put a single one of his cluster charges in Kitchen before pushing into Dirt Tunnel. I imagine that's why he brought the fuse. Didn't happen, though. Doesn't matter in the end. Nesk got the frags that were necessary and locked the site out for his team, as well as taking the site initially. A lot to put on one man's shoulders, but he made it work. Now, moving forward, FaZe is going to go to Cash. And this is going to likely be a slightly better chance at holding against whatever the heck that fuse pick is. I don't think that fuse is going to be nearly as useful on this site. There's not as many places you can, well, place those cluster charges, apart from maybe some windows. There is no castle being brought, so no guaranteed window being easy to access there. You take a gamble if you place on any of the ones that are going to be available. Overall, I'm guessing they were expecting it to be a basement defense the second time in a row.
Here's the theory behind, I would imagine, why they're bringing a blitz in the first place, is you want to put a shield there, right?
You mean a fuse?
Yeah, I said blitz, didn't I?
No, you said fuse.
Why Sexy Cake is bringing fuse, yeah. It's basically he's got the best gun of the 3 shield operators. The PMM is a better gun than, you see on Montaigne and you see on Blitz. He also has smokes, just like the other shield operators, as you see 2 smoke grenades in the hands of Sexy Cake. And if they need him to, you can still put his utility down somewhere in the form of that gadget.
Yeah, it's definitely, I honestly got to say, it's a bit of a sniper pistol. It reminds me of when we had the Monty days, back with the revolver, when you could put a laser sight on the revolver, and it had the hip fire that was, ridiculously tight, too easy to control, and Montaignes would just walk up to people, unshield, spam the revolver, and whoever's in front of them would die. It's a similar thing with the fuse. The difference is slightly more ammunition on the PMM. Still great accuracy, but you can't do the whole deploy your Montaigne shield and walk up impervious to damage thing. So you have to be a little bit more careful, and that's likely what Sexy Cake is going to have to focus on here in this round.
That just looks like it's going to be a cluster charge going off on one of the garage panels. It'll burn one of the ADSs of Cameraman. Oh, actually, no, that was on the window. Interesting.
Surprised he got away with that.
Hard sound propagation there, as it sounded like from the Legion's perspective as we were watching Yuna, as Sexy Cake, 4th time is not a charm, as that drone gets shot on the window panel, and that is going to be a bit of a misstep for Liquid. They will be deprived of one of the tools that they have at their disposal to be able to get the information as to where FaZe is playing. Now, you have to give credit to Liquid on how they read into the basement defense of FaZe. I don't know if we can start to give credit to them just yet, because FaZe looks just hunkered down, as if there's going to really be no pressure from Liquid, as Liquid haven't assessed exactly how to take command of this defense.
Astro looking for the head of that fuse. He's not able to find it. Shield doing its work here on the window. I mean, Sexy Cake isn't going to be able to do very much from this window other than disrupt the rotation. And oh no, he takes a shot seemingly through the shield, but I'm guessing that was onto the shoulder from Astro's perspective. That's going to put Sexy Cake on low HP. This Cameraman gets picked off. He was a big player in the last round, despite FaZe not winning it. That's a huge pick for Liquid. Astro is still holding on to this fuse window, and it's going to be a gas canister to allow Astro to rotate. Yuna through the wall, takes out Paulo. Great job there, and Palu hits the ground. That's going to be another excellent kill for FaZe, though the first in this round. Ion has to hold on to Cash Stairs, but he's only got to do it for a few more seconds. Yuna starts to rotate and gets almost another kill. Ion able to take out PSK. Astro a double kill using the DMR, and Zig, the last one alive, will get an impactless frag, but Ion shuts him down, and FaZe a lockout on Cash.
Liquid did not look like they knew how to tackle what FaZe had set up for them. The shield that was put up in the garage as well by Yuna basically makes it so that if you get pushed by a shield operator like Blitz, Montaigne, Fuse, etc., you have to vault over it. You can't just continue to walk up those stairs, as we've seen from a number of different shield players. That's basically what FaZe does with Yuna. They put the Montaigne inside a garage. He walks largely unimpeded up the catwalk and then just continues to push on over to that small window. Ultimately, there was no investment from Liquid in garage. There was no real contribution from any member of that team to put pressure on Yuna. And Yuna could basically just stay there. He had the soft wall that he could impact at any point and possibly push on out. As a Legion, he could continue to just pepper the site with goo mines, which, as we know, play a huge role in the dying seconds of a push and can be just so integral for a defense to be able to hold itself together, because you can't plant if you have a goo mine in your foot. I know that that seems sensible, but When you are, as Liquid did in that round, waiting until the final seconds to begin your push, those goo mines go from being minor annoyances to complete saviors in a given round. Ultimately, for Liquid, I don't know if it was just an inability to drone, as I know that there were a couple drones that got shot out very well from FaZe. We saw that perfect example from Sexy Cake trying to gather information inside of the site, as he was just unable to get that drone on in. Or if it was just maybe Liquid, as you very wisely pointed out, we're not expecting FaZe to go to cache CCTV, and it definitely seemed that way. Now, with Liquid running a very similar setup, FaZe prevailing on cache CCTV, we'll need to go downstairs to this church site, which, if we see a repeat of round number 1, will likely be FaZe having to invest a set amount of their tools in defending the dirt tunnel, because that is exactly where Sexy Cake will make his home if Liquid plays it the same as round 1.
Hopefully better. Maybe we see one of the cluster charges placed in kitchen before Sexy starts pushing into the dirt tunnel. That would be an interesting use of his utility. But it might not be what comes to pass. Paulo trying to set up for a grenade to take out the Electro Claw. It's going to be clear of the ADS, but oh no, Astro is juggling his ADSs. Did he get it off? No, a little too late there from Astro, and the grenade will detonate. The Electro Claw gone. That's going to allow Zig to open up the dirt tunnel. Great teamwork there between Palu and Zig to make that happen. Lots of utility spent, but it was all worth it in the end. It also cost Astro at least 2 of his ADSs.
Great play by Liquid, and a good start as well for them. Now, if you look at the timing here, we've got Ion situated in dirt tunnel, and he's still holding on to all of his toxic canisters. He did use them in a bit of desperation against Sexy Cake in the very first round, using 2 of the canisters, just trying to slow the blitz's or the fuse's advance. He was a lot better and a lot more reserved with those canisters on the previous defense upstairs on cache and CCTV, and was basically using them in the final seconds. You saw that Zig walked right into one, or vaulted right into one, if we want to be more specific. He was trying to get on in to make that plant go down, as Liquid did struggle in the late round. We're in the mid-round right now, and we're riding along with Cameraman, who's got his yokais in positions in both blue and dirt tunnel to be able to give maximum information. He'll be utilized by the rest of his team, but there's no dirt presence from Liquid. So FaZe were expecting a possible play from the fuse over in dirt tunnel, but no, it's Sexy Cake doing what blitzes usually do best, which is clear utility and just rain death from above inside of kitchen, which is a little bit more standard for that Russian operator. Mav is going to use his Nitro Cell a bit too early. He had the information in hand, but that cardiac sensor is not as immediate as a lot of people wish it were. It's going to be a C4 going off just at the bottom of main stairs, but it won't find any targets from Liquid.
This yokai drone from Cameraman is going to be so important. As the round transpires, he is able to call out at least 2 inside of the dirt tunnel, and will be able to disorient them, starting with the Buck. And with only 30 seconds left, this combination of yokai drone and gas canister will likely be the undoing of the players inside of dirt tunnel. Yuno, meanwhile, needs to hold on to this Arsenal drop, and he's got 1 player to contest with. That's Zig. Misses some shots. Zig, though, loses a life and wins the fight. Control of Arsenal now in the favor of Liquid, and Pauly's also going to take down Ion. This is going all but FaZe's way as they keep losing player after player. Though late in the round, yokai drone still in play, only 3 seconds. If Cameraman can make it happen, but no! Sexy Cake rushes site, gets the kills that are necessary, and Liquid will take the round, attacking onto basement.
That PMM just does so much damage. It is a tiny magazine, and you can bless your lucky stars, or thank your lucky stars, if you're Team Liquid, for the fact that Sexy Cake was not all out of bullets, but still has the handy shield just to be able to smack anybody with it in a melee, if necessary, as the Echo was immobilized. So many rounds ultimately come down to whether you are successful in getting the plant off. Not really the case when the yokai is unable to do its full job. Now, when you look at this round, it's going to go back downstairs to Church. Unfortunate for Liquid that they are going to lose their 6th pick, because it did not appear that Zig was able to get an operator locked in on time. He's usually going to be their hard breach. The game picks him a Blackbeard, which means that he's going to need to flex off to something else. He goes with Thermite. Nothing else really changes from Liquid. For FaZe Clan, you pretty much know that Zig is going to be playing a Thermite.
There's no world where Habana is banned and you're not picking Thermite on Clubhouse. That's just not happening. And the lack of a Maverick, I think it's pretty obvious to FaZe what's going on. So you're right. That was clearly a mistake, I guess, on the side of Zig. But it happens from time to time. We've actually seen that before. We've seen that in the most unfortunate ways possible. But let's not talk about that. Going into this round, Zig will be able to use that 6 pick to get the operator he wants. We're still seeing the Fuse PMM laser sight shield combination being brought from Sexy Cake. It has actually been working out pretty well for him, all things considered. What we just saw in that last round was a huge clutch. I may not have looked to it to the layman, but that round was inches away from being in FaZe's favor using the Yokai drone. If he had just had one more second to stay on that Yokai drone and deny the plant, it probably would have been a win for the defense. But Sexy Cake on the rush using that shield, huge victory. He, however, I spoke too soon, has switched away from the shield onto the AK-12. I don't know if this was intentional or accidental. We have seen weapon switches be accidental in the past. I can't imagine he's bringing this operator for the utility, given the... Maybe they're switching up to an Arsenal take and he wants to play bottom of main stairs while... Or sorry, switching up to a church take and he wants to play bottom of main stairs while also simultaneously using his Fuse charges elsewhere. Maybe that's what's going on here. Fuse is useful attacking the basement on the site, so it wouldn't be crazy.
I mean, if you're bringing the shield to put pressure on the very small avenues into the site, example being dirt tunnel, then you're going to want, whether it's a blitz or a Montaigne or a Fuse with a shield in this case, in that position. But I think a lot of people really do sleep on the AK-12. It tends to be one of the best guns in the game. The only problem with it is that it's tied to Fuse, who's a 3 armor, a 1 speed, and is very slow, and his gadget is not the greatest at high-level play.
Yeah, the AK-12 actually has some of the highest DPS of any gun in the game. It's up there, I think top 7, top 6.
It has manageable recoil.
Yeah, it's got a decent recoil. It didn't used to, but it does now for sure. I think overall, it's a great gun. And you're right, it's just attached to an operator that doesn't really see a whole lot of play in Pro League.
Right, and I think bringing an AK-12 is going to provide you a bit more firepower. But I mean, I think your speculation is correct, is that the shield is likely not going to be needed in the purpose that they intend to use the Fuse for. So where are they going to apply it?
It's going to be a church take, and this is exactly what we expected to happen. That AK is going to be able to play long angles, which is more prevalent with the church take. Stepping away from that, though, Mav with an impact trick. Perfect timing there. Sexy Cake is going to take down Cameraman, though, using that AK-12 that we were just typing up. Excellent job there through the floor, catching his opponent on rotation.
Flushes him out with the cluster charge, then does the rest of the work with his own assault rifle, which is a way that you can use Fuse and just often requires a bit more strategy and finesse.
Oh no!
Is Mav going to be able to get this charge in time? It does appear so, and FaZe have been able to use these impact grenades very successfully to keep themselves safe. But you can hear as the very final cluster charge rattles off that FaZe is going to have to try to survive a push from Liquid, and this is great with the shotgun. You know that all of the attackers are going to be funneling through a very small avenue. You just need to wait and greet them in time. Down goes the buck as there's a volley from FaZe, and this looks almost unwinnable for Liquid. They're all going to fall very swiftly shut down. 5 members of FaZe, or 4 members of FaZe rather, will be netting every single kill, and Liquid get thwarted by some impressive impact tricking onto that church wall, denying an easy access route for Liquid to be able to get on in, and that church push that you had anticipated and you had speculated on was correct. But you can't really push in if you don't have a wall open to do so.
I actually think that second thermite charge was taken out by Paulu's nade, which he missed over the wall. There's some really unfortunate nade throwing by Paulu. And to be fair to him, that is one of the hardest overwall nades to land in this entire game. Something about that wall, it's just a little bit one-sided. Impacts, yeah, you can do it. C4s, sure, from inside of church going out. But throwing nades in, it's doable, just exceptionally difficult. Now, we'll be going to Cash on the next round. And you're right, the speculation in that last round, I mean, well, not speculation, the way that defense won that last round, purely off the impact tricking from Mav, and the, I think, missed nade from Paulo. Going into this round, Cash, this is the first round that FaZe managed to win on defense. It's looking good for them. They've only gone to 2 different bomb sites throughout this first defensive half, despite having already played 4 rounds, going into the 5th. Surprising, we've only seen the basement Cash so far. Mav has been playing a lot of different roles so far today. Here on the Valkyrie now, last round on the Legion. Yuna's going to pick up that role here in this round. Some interesting rotations.
No good deed goes unpunished. It looked like Mav was actually going to take down that barricade after it gets set up. There's funny little things like that that just waste a little bit of time on your team, but you really need to be able to shore those up because who knows? If Liquid was going for a rush strat, you could possibly get caught off guard. You're trying to do something that shouldn't have been done, or maybe you're a step behind the pace, and well, that extra second or those extra 5 seconds, etc., end up being your undoing. Who knows? So,
looks like Liquid's going to be clearing horizontally here, trying to save themselves some time. We've been seeing this as a pretty common, open up the jacuzzi wall, make the push in, clear out Gym, Master, and you've got a good platform to commence the assault onto the actual site. They're doing it very cautiously though. You see it droning out before they actually start opening up these walls. You can see they detected Cameraman on the main stairs, who will fall back, obviously, given the pressure from those drones and the information that are gathered by the drones. Paolo's just going to lock down this flank, but waiting for one of his teammates to drone it out and determine that, yeah, there's no Jaeger there anymore. Move on. Maverick not being banned on Clubhouse, and this is why it's so important. Sexy Cake is not going to open up the wall, looks like. The buck is elsewhere, so instead, he's just going to open a line. And what does that line do? It denies bandit tricking, but more importantly, cuts off rotations. The defenders now have to be conscious of that line in a wall for the remainder of the round.
Something so simple as that can completely foil your entire defensive structure. So what do? Well, you move back, and you basically have to vacate that wall because your attackers now have a way in to see you at minimum. They can't really get in the actual site through that hole, but it's at least going to persist long enough to make it so that you can't play freely in that area. It does look like it's going to be a construction take from Liquid now, as they've done a successful job clearing, as you'd mentioned. So you stack up bodies inside of construction, you possibly use your thermite charge that Zig is going to have in hand. You have to be able to get rid of any bandit batteries that are playing on the other side of it, but there's an opportunity for you to throw a grenade over top should you need to. It looks like the bandit batteries might actually go from below, as Mav has Paolo on surveillance, is carefully watching him, and is also close enough to possibly be able to engage on the buck, who it's going to be Cameraman, taking Paolo down from below, and Liquid are now aware of off-site presence from FaZe, and if there's nobody dedicated to flank watch, well, this can be particularly troubling. Mav will clean up what had been started by Cameraman, as Paolo is finished, he was down but not out, and now below, Mav is assessing the situation, but he turns his back at the last second. Here's the door open up, and he'll lose the fight to Sexy Cake, who walks right in and now has control from below. The smokes go out from PSK as Yuna moves in from the garage. He's got Ion just side by side, and shoulder by shoulder they will fight, as there's Astro still on the roam, taking out Sexy Cake. There's another body that'll go down, and everybody just funneling right into the sights of FaZe. PSK gets one kill, but it's ultimately fruitless, as Yuna will get the very final kill on to PSK, and there you have it. The very first time that a team will win 2 rounds back-to-back will be FaZe. They were successful on Church and now on Cash as well.
Also the first time that FaZe will get the lead in this match, as they've been fighting on the back foot for the entirety of it thus far. Good job to FaZe holding out on Cash, and it just looked like it was their round through and through. The information was abundant thanks to those Valkyrie cams. The roamers were still present despite being droned out by Liquid, and Cameraman had a huge playmake there, taking out the buck. That meant that the buck Apollo was unable to do any more work vertically from storage, or stock as it's often referred to as. So great job to FaZe. I like the setup from Liquid, it just wasn't enough. There were a lot of playmakes that could have happened on the side of FaZe. Specifically, Mav is one I would like to point out. Playing as Valkyrie, he could have C4'd anyone playing on the balcony. He could have taken out the buck by himself. There was a lot of opportunities that were presented to the defense. Not all were seized, but enough of them were to make it FaZe's round. Liquid left themselves too open, and why? How? Because they were way too slow on their execute. They seemingly had some objectives in mind, but were just unable to get them done in time. Put themselves up in a corner, and they were unable to recover. Now, last round, first half, FaZe go to Gym. This is the first time we're going to be seeing Gym, the first time we're going to be seeing anything other than the basement or cash room defended by FaZe. So, something new to end out the half.
I mean, you have to at this point. You've won Church and you've won Cash. What? You're going to go down to bar stock?
I mean...
No.
No.
No, you're not. You're not.
You're not, no.
You don't want to run the risk on that kind of defense. Especially when this hold that FaZe has on the lead is very tenuous. It is extremely likely, given the way that Jim and Master tend to play out, that Liquid is going to win this round just based on win percentages. A lot of teams do tend to win Church and Cash and then lose Jim. It's just the way that the nature of the map goes. But, oh my.
This is dangerous.
Yuna's just standing there, absolutely sentinel, guarding over top of the hatch, and could have possibly been able to get the buck of Palu if he had Palu had lingered a little while longer, but no, he'll scamper off.
It's interesting that Yuna's the one that brings the deployable shield for the Bandit instead of Mav. Usually you keep the impacts to get rid of the barbed wire, but I guess it's not as important on this site, considering there's not really anything to impact Trick. So, yeah. It's, of course, after the change that happened to that wall way, way back. Of course, by that wall, I mean Jacuzzi wall. You used to be able to impact Trick over it. Now you can't. You can't throw nades over it either. It's just nothing above it.
It actually made that site here in Gym Master very, very viable, because you could essentially just end a Trick it, and if all, things go to hell, then you can just throw an impact grenade up. You mentioned how a Maverick can basically shred through the metal reinforcement and allow soft destruction to open up the wall, and that's exactly what happened on that Jacuzzi wall. You have Sexy Cake cut a line on the top of the reinforcement and the bottom of the reinforcement. The metal sheets fall away, and then the soft wall is left bare and exposed, and Palu is able to just buck right through it with that skeleton key.
They've also got control of Bathroom because of how open this wall is and the rotation that was established by FaZe. You could see that FaZe were relying on Astro to be able to bandit trick the wall, but you can't bandit trick a Mav, so, well, job done for Liquid. Control established, and now they have an excellent opportunity to take this round.
And if Ion dies early, even though he's in a pretty secure spot for the time being, and as long as Yuna exists within that office, then Ion will be pretty okay. There's no real site presence. You have Astro and Mav both watching the doorway from construction, but it's a very linear defense. Liquid starting things off in a hurry with both Sexy Cake and Nesk taking 2 major kills. There's Astro. He'll push right through Palu, and he and Yuna will watch the doors. A good crossfire established. Great read from Astro as he takes down PSK. And FaZe now find themselves back at a 3v3. There's only 20 seconds left. And as the tempo will increase, there's Zig to cut through Mav. FaZe clan, Astro hurt. Yuna's there. Cannot win his fight against Nesk. Astro is still inside 3 big kills, but Sexy Cake start things off, and he'll finish things as well. And just like that, as we predicted, Team Liquid are able to prevail on the site that the attackers typically win. More often than not, it's a 3-3 scoreline heading into the half, and these teams proving their worth and both showing how strong they can be on this map.
Anyone surprised by 3-3 out of the first half? I'm sure not. And the way that looked, though, it just seems like Liquid still have a ever so slight edge. A lot of the rounds that FaZe were winning, it's because Liquid were playing really poorly, but when they're not, it seems like Liquid can't be stopped. What do I mean by that? Well, we had a cash attack that went so wrong for Liquid, and why? Because they were tripping over themselves. They tried to go for a construction take, and they just stalled out. They were going for a thermite on the wall, couldn't make it happen. The buck down below really wasn't getting much done, got flanked. There was no flank isolation downstairs because Liquid were trying to streamline their attack. It just was all over the place. Not a great attack from Liquid. But we've been seeing some really excellent ones like that last round just now. So well coordinated, and some major mistakes being made by FaZe, such as the preemptive C4 that just didn't land on anyone inside a bathroom. Imagine if he had waited for the information, the call, hey, someone's pushed into bathroom, from the smoke who's playing right next to it. He has to have sound cues in that situation. Just wait for the opportune moment. If nothing else, it's going to push them back from bathroom and give you some breathing room. What a run out from Palu, and it's not going to bear any fruit. I have no idea what he was thinking, but he loses HP as that was very foolish. Anyway, Liquid, first defensive round, and they are coming out with, I guess, a bang.
That was either Astro or Yuna, as you could hear the sound of the gun, as Liquid is taking every chance in the book now. Sexy Cake will get spotted out very early. He had that Jacuzzi wall open. That's a very common spot for a Rook or a Doc to push out. Sexy Cake enjoys the P90 that gets run from the GIGN operators. He gets felled. Palu's lost a bit of his HP too, but look at this. Nesk also could go for a run out. It's basically a triple press from Liquid, as they have 3 bodies on their team that were capable of pushing FaZe before they got into the building. And I think Nesk might just be waiting for a call, but it's not going to come as he now rotates on into CCTV. And he waits to see if anybody's going to help him out.
That was a 3... I'm sorry to cut you off.
I was going to say, Valkyrie cameras outside will give him the information that he needs to should he decide to push.
That was a 3-man run out on construction, and a confusing one at that. I really don't know why Liquid were committing to that. It could have worked out. Imagine more people spawn at construction, and that's definitely going to get you some picks for Liquid. But it was only one player, and he played very cautiously. No favor to Team Liquid. They now have Nesk caught ways away from sight. Palu has lost a lot of HP, and Sexy Cake was picked to boot. So FaZe find themselves in the driver's seat early on. Despite not having a Hibana to attack the bottom floor, they will have the Maverick and the Thermite. This is interesting. I'm not sure that the roamers have been droned out or even attempted to be cleared from FaZe. They might just be assuming it's clear and going for the take. Also don't know if the roamers are still on the roam though, because, well, we don't. No, it's true. There he is. It's Nesk upstairs by Cash Room. So this is really huge that FaZe hasn't droned out Nesk. C4 for PSK will land. Mav goes down. That's the Buck eliminated. So the nade's not going to be a presence in this round any longer. And with Nesk still potentially on a flank, Liquid are now in a much better spot than you would have expected given the lack of success from the runouts early on.
This tends to happen with both of these teams, right? You get an early lead, and then it just kind of snowballs from there. And I mean, with FaZe, they lost, Team Liquid lost a body in Sexy Cake early, but it doesn't really matter because they've been able to recover very gracefully. Down goes a mute jammer from Cameraman, as now that wall is absolutely able to be opened up by Yuna. There's no denial, at least for the time being, as Nesk has still not been discovered. He has control of the hatch above. If he doesn't drop, he can capitalize here, but he's unable to land enough shots onto Yuna as he sees just the leg and the padding cannot do very much. PSK pushes on out. He'll find the air jab. Knocked on his rear. He'll need to recover as it's Ion and Yuna getting 2 big kills, and Liquid found themselves winning the mid-round, but losing the execute, and FaZe manages to regain the lead. An impressive recovery from FaZe Clan despite losing control.
2 things there. An air jab and a part of Thermite being exposed that wasn't a hitbox. Huge miscalculation by Nesk. He was trying to shoot the clothing of the Thermite. The clothing. And the air jab recovered moto control and gave it back to the attackers. Everything was looking Liquid's way. That round should have been Liquid's. Strategically, I feel like they had it in the bag. But FaZe, oh wow, did it work out for them. Just a few small mistakes from your opponent is all it takes, and FaZe capitalized. Beautiful plays.
My one big takeaway from that round was please shoot the jukebox.
The jukebox. Oh yeah, good point.
Shoot the jukebox.
I think it's also isn't it client side though? Sometimes you can shoot it on your side and it's.
I have no idea.
I think you can shoot it on your side. It'll be muted for you, but for other people it won't. I'm not 100% sure about that though.
Just shoot the gosh darn jukebox, please. Like it's making noise and it's very loud, and it actually, from a caster perspective, it actually makes it tougher to hear stuff around it.
Do not attempt to board the helicopter.
Please don't. Don't attempt to board it.
Yeah, so also shoot the speakers on border.
Also correct.
There's a lot of different sound sources that you can shoot, and they'll just stop.
Coastline used to have the exterior speakers by the pool also make noise. They don't anymore.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
I thought it was only at nighttime when they made noise.
Was it?
Yeah, I thought it was only at nighttime they played music.
That would make sense because it is a nighttime pool party.
Yeah.
The jukebox on Outback as well makes noise too.
You know what you can't shoot though? The sprinklers on Bank.
There's a lot of ambient noise that it's in the game, obviously, for a variety of reasons. But I mean, for us, that jukebox actually does mask the ability to hear stuff around it, for example. And I mean, sound is so incredibly important. So just please, if you play on a team, just a friendly piece of advice.
Shoot the jukebox.
Shoot the jukebox. That's all I ask. So, what happens? Well, Liquid loses their church hold. They'll go back downstairs to church and hope that this time around, things will be different.
I mean, though honestly, it looked like Liquid was going to have it.
I mean, it's so hard for a defending team to throw around in the bag or throw around in the garbage when it looks like you have it in the bag when you have control from above and your attackers need to go through those small doorways. Yeah,
Nesk above, controlling Moto. End of story, that should be his round. If he just stayed on that drop down, allowed his teammates to focus elsewhere, how does FaZe recover? But it just didn't happen. Some miscommunication, some missed shots, some mistakes made. It's done now. FaZe will be going on to attack of basement once more. Maverick's going to be opening up Dirt Tunnel. Sexy must be aware of this. He had to have heard it. Maverick isn't that silent.
It depends, really. Sometimes it sounds like it's a lot closer, right? Yeah. And, I mean, we've seen teams be able to carve a circle in that wall and then just jump on through it.
He's done that, I think.
Cameraman could possibly just carve a small circle and vault on in, which is why Sexy Cake pulls out that shotgun. So he's at a much closer angle as he's going to be able to greet anybody that comes in through the dirt. Well, PSK's foot gets shot out by Mav, who's holding the angle above, and PSK will need to step back. There's no resetting anymore, so he's not going to get back to 50 HP. He's going to sit at that 20 HP, thereabouts.
That's a very old angle that you see opened up by the Buck. You can go from the kitchen hallway through the top of the church wall, and PSK lost a little over 75 HP because of it. Definitely a great move there from Mav.
And I mean, it's really going to push Liquid on their backs here. But look at the time. 30 seconds. Catch the C4. Cameraman does. His body will tumble on through the open hatch. And Liquid know that they likely have control over Kitchen. But no! FaZe just jump on in. 3 kills in comparison to 1 from Liquid will give FaZe the advantage and leave Zig only left. He's got the tough prospect of getting on out of the double doors. And oh man, out of nowhere, FaZe just come alive. They just jump on down and clobber Liquid in every conceivable angle.
FaZe said, heck it. They went straight in. They didn't seem to care about the angles that Liquid were holding. Arsenal, I think a bit of a tenuous hold there from Team Liquid. Too much focus on Church, that's for sure. And, well, there was little to no counterplay being brought out by Team Liquid. You saw, especially there in the end, the Legion. What did he have to retake into Arsenal from Church? He had a tiny hole made by seemingly a shotgun. No impacts available, which means he can't make a larger hole. He can't deny the plant that's going down deep in Arsenal by the IQ. Just the tools that Liquid needed to defend both sites were not available, and why? They stacked up too much on Church. The expectation, I get it. There's no Habana. It's more likely that the attacking team is going to go for Church Wall. That just stands to reason in every sense, with Thermite being the primary hard destructor. But Maverick did an excellent job in that round. Able to open up the Arsenal wall despite possible impact tricking that might have been going on. Or sorry, Arsenal drop down, pardon me. Also allowing for a great avenue into sight despite not even needing the dirt tunnel.
Here's been an interesting change on Liquid. We don't often try to highlight a team that is, shall we say, or a member who is doing well in kills. Astro has 12 kills. Obviously, that's part of his job as a player on this team. You know, if there's going to be somebody who's taking point on the team for FaZe, it's going to be Astro. Liquid relies a lot on really strong fragging potential from their couple players that they have, from their, you know, their entry, their second entry, etc., their chief roamers. Palu tends to be one of those players on this team. You usually have PSK and Sexy Cake supporting Nest and Palu to a certain extent. Palu only has 1 kill so far through 9 rounds, or through 8 rounds. We're in the 9th right now. That's moved Palu onto more of an actual anchor role, as maybe he's just having a bad day, or maybe they think that he can frag well on the Echo. But you've got both Sexy Cake and PSK, who are not always the 2 members of Liquid who are putting themselves in positions for confrontation, who are shouldering quite a load right now for Liquid. Palu needs to find something in order to give his team a fighting chance.
That was a huge play there from FaZe. They just opened up the server wall. Pure brute force, DDoSing their way into server. Beautiful plays from FaZe, and they just didn't seem to care about the juggle. Usually there's a little bit of a dance going on, but FaZe just knocked Liquid on the floor there and said, hey, this is my wall, I'm taking it now, goodbye. And now they have a tremendous amount of control. They haven't taken control of Garage just yet, so there is potential. What is Sexy doing, and how did he get away with it?
That was extremely risky. I mean, he's gonna move his utility a little bit. He's still so close. There might be somebody just behind his back.
Okay, hang on.
Sexy Cake doesn't know. Astro is so close.
What?
This is just puzzling. They came within inches of each other, but Astro falls off.
He was playing an angle on the server window. Ness gets a double kill somehow. Mav and Ian are gone, and now FaZe are starting to lose ground. Nesk finally gets shut down, though, so the roamer silenced. It's a very important pick there for FaZe.
A rare opportunity, or a rare, I guess, occasion where Nesk actually loses a heads-up gunfight. And it's going to be the cameraman there, who's obviously no slouch himself. He's now going to move to his utilities. He's going to try to open up some of the wall. He drops down through the hatch and will now have to rotate on over towards the red stairs. Astro catches Palu, so the Echo will not be very effective, but Zig finds cameraman. Cameraman had dropped down, was trying to get back to site. There's a pulse from below. He's still got the Nitro Cell in hand, so this is still easily winnable for Liquid, and their job of winning will get even easier. As look at that, a big two-piece from Sexy Cake inside a server. Nobody from FaZe was able to discover his location, and whether it's Astro or whether it's Unit, it doesn't really matter. That's a tremendous play from the Kaid, and Sexy Cake just playing in a position where he should have been punished multiple times, but there was nobody to do it. And because of that, off of just that one fact alone, it's going to be Liquid taking that round.
The way that FaZe played that round after opening server wall, it makes me think that somehow we had like a spectator bug or something. The wall was open for us, but not for them. Something crazy like that. It clearly wasn't the case, though. Gunfights coming in the end of the round through that open wall that FaZe just walked away from. They're like, nah, we're going to attack Armory. What? FaZe had every advantage going into a server wall take. They beautifully brute forced their way in through server wall. It's open, great. What should their next focus be? Probably Garage. Once you get control of Garage, you've got an excellent crossfire and the ability to plant the diffuser in sight. Yes, there is a pulse. Yes, you should play someone underneath to deny that pulse, C4ing from below. There you go. But what does FaZe do? They try to take from construction, and Nesk punishes them with a double kill on the roam. Why? Anyway, Zig's going for a round on Armory, construction spawn from the dirt tunnel. He's not going to find anything. We've been seeing a lot of aggression on the construction spawn from Team Liquid. Hasn't worked out yet, and I think FaZe are aware that this is something that's going to be happening from Liquid, and they're just avoiding the spawn altogether.
It's a great round from Liquid. A great round from Sexy Cake in particular. I mean, Nesk's opening 2 kills were very important, but I mean, Sexy Cake really just held that round together.
True, true.
Once again, I don't know if Palu was just having a really bad day or not, but he got caught rotating as an Echo on the stairs when he knows that that wall is open inside of CCTV. Surely it was communicated to him from Sexy Cake, who is now rocking that P90 once again. Gotta give a lot of credit to Sexy Cake. He's always done this. Ever since being in Pro League, he has always gone with these really unconventional loadouts. I mean, I feel like he was playing Legion and Dokkaebi before anybody else was. I feel like since then, I mean, he's played Fuse, he's playing Rook with a P90, and he always manages to make it work. Whether he's supporting that team or not, he's had a big game so far.
He will be picked off by Yuna. Great drone work there from FaZe to get that pick early on. Nesk refrags up. Ion eliminated. That's the flank watching. Nomad no longer with us. Nesk did eat a lot of damage, though, to get that kill, so it wasn't complete loss for Ion.
Quite a bit of damage here as Palu's going to be tasked with getting at least one more kill than he has. There's 2 bodies trying to square with him. Astro's got the one door frame to work around as Palu is just going to bide as much time as possible, half the round to go. But look at that cameraman from behind. Palu could possibly be pinched as he's going to need to engage from 2 separate angles. And no, Palu's shut down. He's having a bad day, and it will only continue to get worse in round 10 as FaZe is looking to put themselves on the match point here. They had a golden opportunity last round, but couldn't really do all that much. I am very impressed in every single round that Nesk plays with his ability to just go completely unchecked from any team, really.
He is the roamer in this match. None of the players on FaZe seem to be able to pin him down in every single round.
And there he has his position inside of the garage. He tosses out a Valkyrie camera. He knows if somebody's going to push from that angle. But I mean, it's very unlikely that they will find anybody as FaZe have now decided to move their chips on the board over towards a singular church take, as they are all over by the main stairs. 30 seconds to go, and we just saw that the kitchen hatch is still intact. So the hard destruction from FaZe has really not been there. Despite all of this, despite the possible impact tricking from Zig below, FaZe still finds themselves in an advantage. They are very, very softened up. His cameraman inside a dirt tunnel is going to take some damage. Zig finds one body, doesn't expect a second. Yuna will trade him off, and as the pace will hasten, Yuna inside, dumping as many flashes as he can out. Finds himself at a 2v2. Nesk will need to come on in, cut down by Mav. Where's PSK to be able to stop this plant in its timer right now? Oh, PSK's there, but there will be no miracle for PSK as Yuna completes the plant, pops off, and just guns down the final member of Liquid to give FaZe Clan the 1 point against their adversaries here in Latin America that they so desperately need if they want to go to Milan, if they want to go to the playoffs. And we will head on over to see if Liquid will be able to pull off the same magic on Clubhouse that Immortals was able to do in match number 1, which is fight for a draw and secure that 1 point that you need to stay competitive with the rest of the region.
Yeah, you put it nicely there, Parker. FaZe are currently, I believe, in 4th place starting the day, and they really do need to win this match if they want to be going to Milan at the end of the season. For 2 reasons. 1, because, yeah, okay, they're not in the top 2 right now. And 2, because Liquid is, finding themselves in 2nd place. If FaZe can deny any points to Team Liquid here, get 3 for themselves, they give themselves a huge leap forward in that goal of getting to Milan. They're doing a really great job of it so far. Look at Astro, 14 kills. Really been the fragger for FaZe. As you stated, that is his job, but he's been above and beyond so far today. That round was a very close one. FaZe played it well. They knew what they had available to them, which was the Arsenal wall open for access to any of the attackers. They decided, hey, we don't need to go for a church take if we could just push into Arsenal. We also can push Cameraman in Dirt Tunnel. He can go there, cut off rotation from Blue. Once that's established, let's just plant deep Arsenal. Why not? It's exactly what we saw FaZe do. It worked out for them, though just barely. Now, Liquid are going to be going back downstairs. They're going to double down on this site. Potentially could be the last round here. But they seem to want to take the risk of defending this site again. They can't go to Cache, so I guess it makes sense. Liquid have only defended 2 bomb sites on the second half. Basement and Cache. The only successful bomb site being Cache. So they really have struggled with this basement hold. And it's interesting because, I don't know, usually that's the site that people tend to have more success defending. We even saw something similar happening on FaZe's side, though, in the previous half. So it's not the craziest thing.
I was going to say, I feel like the last round of statistics that we saw, this was the best defended site on the entire map. It was a huge margin, if I remember correctly. But also, the change by introducing Nomad and some of the changes just simply to leaning have slowed down the way for defenders to be able to counteract the aggressiveness of attackers. And then I think that's why we've seen more attacking round victories than, you know, previously.
It's possible. I mean, Nomad is huge on this basement, right? Because you don't have to worry about blue stairs or oil pit ladder. You just put an air jab on those, and you're going to be prompted to anyone attempting to rotate through those means. And that's huge, because you can then focus on either exclusively an Arsenal take or a church take or both, depending on what your strategy is. Or you can put them on the other side by main stairs. Whatever the case, Nomad helps you with denying those flanks, as Maverick does with opening these drop-downs. This is why we saw Maverick banned in the previous match, which was also on Clubhouse, because he is going to open up 2 drops max if you play correctly with his torch. And on a basement, you can open up a drop down and also crouch hole into Dirt Tunnel.
A minute will separate the boys from the men here, as it's 6-4 favoring FaZe Clan, and obviously the push and the execute will be happening in just a moment. Or it won't, and Liquid will be able to prevail on the round. It's going to be up to them to stop this execute in its tracks. PSK was successful last time on this C4 to take out Mav, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen this time around, as there's a very small opening. It's created by the Maverick. PSK doing excellent work, but he can't secure the kill. Cameraman, just on a sliver of HP, actually down, as PSK will find Mav yet again. Cameraman manages to evade that explosiveness, as Liquid are still hunkered down inside of Church. They have great coverage, though, and there's Palu inside of Blue, with FaZe now tagging Ion in to continue to push on in. But oh no, Cameraman in from behind. He gets cut down. A big double kill from Zig, as the bodies are flying, leaving Ion 10 seconds away. No diffuser in hand, and he has an absolutely miserable task of trying to get close to the site. He'll be cut down in size by Palu, who came alive at the right time for his team. And it's very conceivable that we will have yet another draw here on Clubhouse as we head into the very final round between Team Liquid and FaZe, with FaZe still holding on to match point for at least the next 4 minutes.
The attack there from FaZe was a little interesting. I really am surprised by the way that we saw Cameraman trying to handle that Maverick, just opening a hole, and hey, let's peek it. And he gets downed, slows down the attack, shifts people on their rolls to different places. Also, prompts Liquid to what the attack is. It's just like, hey, we're attacking church wall. Better focus over here. Also, PSK, excellent play. Gets the down on the Maverick, follows that up with the C4 kill. He knows someone has to be watching from the bottom of main stairs. And why? Because that's just a cornerstone of a church wall attack. As soon as he knows it's a church wall attack, well, the C4's flying, and it will get the kill. That's excellent practice as well, the PSK knowing exactly where to throw that C4. I cannot stress how difficult that one is. You really have to go into a custom and practice it over and over and over again to get it right. Or, I mean, once or twice if you just happen to know the arc of the C4. But in that situation, it was a rapid-fire C4, very impressively thrown from PSK. Following that, or before that, prior to, I should say, getting the down, huge. It just completely messed up the momentum of FaZe Clan. They were never able to recover. Team Liquid adjusted appropriately to the church wall take, completely shut out FaZe Clan.
PSK's position on the back of that church wall has been so strong even when Liquid has lost.
True.
It's not really a surprise to see his impact be as strong as it has. He was just able to live a little while longer than expected, even though Cameraman came apart with a great rotate and was able to take PSK down. It was still all the time that PSK wasted. Downing Cameraman through that hole that was opened up by the blowtorch, and then of course the C4 that also got Mav at the top of the stairs.
Now, this is where the Mira ban is going to come into play. We're going on to Gym, I believe, and this is a site that Mira is very useful on. You could see that the bathroom is being opened up by Team Liquid, so they need the rotation. They know they need the rotation. But not having the Mira means continuing, well, keeping control of bathroom is going to be exceptionally difficult. Palu aware of the Maverick opening up holes behind him. Astro's going to take out Nest, though, so support dwindling here for the roamer of Palu, and he's going to start falling back. An aggressive play, and he narrowly gets doesn't get a headshot. Could have taken out Astro there, but just doesn't fully commit. That's a lot of control that FaZe have just established on the side of Cash, but it's not site control. It's just some roamers pushed back to site itself. Palu's trying his best to get a pick out of this. Taking some serious risks. It might pay off. It might be his team's undoing.
I don't know if he has enough information as to where there's possibly a body in construction, but Palu expecting somebody to be there, but there's nobody home. Interestingly enough, he decides against it and will head on back with Sexy Cake just sitting, watching all the way into construction. He's got an ACOG, a good position to sit on. He's got the barbed wire electrified beneath him. Of course, Sexy Cake is exposed if somebody props up on the window behind him, but there's nobody from FaZe who's in that real area code to do much with it.
Good cutoff of the rotations there from Cameraman. He's going to be able to control the main hallway from that position. There's a little bit of control on the B bomb site, but not as much as I'm sure Liquid would like. No Echo being brought in this round.
I think that's a good change. I don't necessarily agree with Alibi. I don't think her utility usage is all that strong here, but if Palu just wants a good gun in his hands, then by all means, take it. Grenade goes down, finds itself at the feet of PSK, and FaZe now have themselves in a position where it looks like they can't throw it away. Mav will be able to take out Palu as Cameraman falls right in front of him, and it will be up to Sexy Cake and Zig to be able to keep Liquid alive and not give them a loss that will set them back in the standings. Sexy Cake is still waiting for a push from Logistics, but won't see anybody. Looks around the corner. Mav, 3 kills on the round, and Astro taking out Zig will mean that Liquid's momentum they had been trying to build up over the second half will fall just short and give FaZe Clan a very big victory. FaZe Clan, since picking up Ion, are 3-0 in the second half of the season. That is quite a perspective, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks a whole lot nicer. I think it's 21-9 on the outro there. But yeah, the match itself, huge match for FaZe, big win. And that, I think, in my mind, effectively keeps them in the running for Milan.
That'll move FaZe up to 18 points.